You are blonde.
I was born in Germany.
I'm very concerned. We've got a big alligator out there in that lake, and I'm really worried about it.
Audiences witnessed chainsaws, revenge, torture, hysteria, and acts filmed without restraint. Films containing scenes governments tried to erase, but history locked in permanently. In this video, we uncover 10 brutal exploitation movies from the 70s banned across countries. Censors stormed theaters. Reels were seized. Yet the films survived. Let's begin. It starts with one of the most infamous exploitation films ever made. Ilse. She-wolf of the SS, a Nazi camp run by a sadistic commandant named Ilse. Played by Diane Thorne, she isn't just cruel, she's obsessed. Obsessed with proving women can endure more pain than men. Her methods? Twisted experiments. Electric torture, starvation, sexual humiliation. The movie doesn't hold back. What's crazy is how it was filmed. They literally shot it on the abandoned sets of the comedy series Hogan's Heroes. A sitcom about goofy Nazis one day, a nightmare of sadism the next. The budget? Dirt cheap, about $150,000. But what they got on screen? Pure infamy. The movie became so controversial that some cast and crew actually tried to sue to get their names removed from the credits. They wanted to erase any connection. Didn't matter. The stain stuck, and the bans came fast. Germany banned it, Australia banned it, New Zealand banned it, critics hated it, governments outlawed it, but grindhouse audiences made it a cult hit. So much so that it spawned sequels. Ilse, harem keeper of the oil sheiks. Ilse, the wicked warden. Each one nastier than the last. If Ilse was shock fiction, Faces of Death blurred the line with reality. Released in 1978, it was sold as a documentary on death itself. What audiences got was a montage of human and animal deaths. Some real, many staged, all disturbing. Executions, suicides, autopsies, even staged footage of a monkey being killed at a dinner table. Viewers couldn't tell what was real and what was fake. That was the point. Director John Allen Schwartz admitted later that about 60% was staged, but by then the myth had already spread. Parents whispered about it. Kids dared each other to watch it on VHS. Teachers warned students not to bring it to school, which of course only made them want it more. Governments cracked down. In the UK, it wasn't just banned, it was labeled a video nasty, which made owning a copy a criminal offense. Australia banned it outright. Norway too. Stores that dared stock it got raided. But bans fuel fire. Bootleg VHS copies spread everywhere, passed around schoolyards, played at underground screenings. And despite being banned almost everywhere, the film grossed more than $35 million worldwide. What should have been a trashy exploitation tape turned into the forbidden fruit of the late 70s. Sweden wasn't exactly known for grindhouse cinema, but in 1973, they dropped one of the nastiest revenge movies ever made. Thriller, A Cruel Picture. It stars Christina Lindberg as a mute young woman. Abused as a child, she's kidnapped, hooked on drugs, and forced into prostitution. Her captors break her spirit, gouge out her eye, and leave her for dead inside a system of absolute cruelty. But she doesn't stay a victim. Slowly, quietly, she trains. Martial arts, firearms, knife fighting, swordplay. Every scene turns her into a weapon. By the time she's ready, she's not a woman anymore. She's an avenger. What made this film notorious wasn't just the violence. The uncut version included actual hardcore pornographic inserts spliced into the film. Shock for shock's sake. Censors worldwide lost their minds. Australia banned it. Germany banned it. Even the US wouldn't allow an uncut release. Decades later, Quentin Tarantino praised it openly. He even made Daryl Hannah watch it while preparing her role as Elle Driver in Kill Bill. The eye patch? That's straight out of Thriller. Tarantino called it one of the roughest films he's ever seen. Coming from him, that says everything. Before Nightmare on Elm Street, before Scream, Wes Craven made his directorial debut with a movie so brutal it defined a genre. The Last House on the Left. The setup is simple. Two teenage girls head out to a rock concert. On the way, they're kidnapped by a gang of escaped convicts. What follows is relentless. The assaults are ugly. The humiliation is drawn out. It feels real in a way 1970s audiences weren't prepared for. But Craven wasn't finished. The girls' parents find out what happened. And when they do, they take revenge into their own hands. Brutal, messy, and savage. The film doesn't shy away from the cycle of violence. Audiences did more than just watch. They reacted. People fainted. People vomited. Screenings turned into riots. In some cases, theaters stopped the projector because the crowd couldn't take it. Censors hated it. In the UK, the Board of Film Classification refused to even consider it. For decades, it was banned outright. When the video nasties panic of the 1980s hit, Last House on the Left was front and center. Even Quentin Tarantino once admitted it was the only movie he ever had to walk out of. "Too much, Hook," he said. And that's Tarantino talking. And then came the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Tobe Hooper's nightmare of backwoods cannibals and power tools didn't invent the slasher. But it set the blueprint. A group of friends stranded in rural Texas, stumbling into a house of horrors. A family of cannibals. And Leatherface, wearing a mask of human skin, wielding a chainsaw. What's remarkable is how little blood is actually shown. The film feels drenched in gore, but it's mostly atmosphere. The screaming, the sound of the chainsaw, the frantic handheld camera. Hooper kept it cheap, raw, and terrifying. Censors weren't fooled. The MPAA refused to grant it an R rating in the US. In the UK, it was banned outright. For years, the word chainsaw was itself banned from film titles. That's how strong the panic was. Despite all that, it made over $30 million off a budget under $150,000. One of the most profitable independent films ever made. And it gave birth to the modern slasher. Halloween, Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street, all of them owe a debt to Leatherface. Chainsaw wasn't just banned, it was feared. And 50 years later, that fear still lingers. If one movie defines cinematic filth, it's Pink Flamingos. John Waters didn't just want to make people laugh or scream, he wanted to disgust them. Starring the drag legend Divine, this wasn't just underground cinema. It was cinematic terrorism, in Waters' own words. The movie's story is already absurd. Divine wants to keep her crown as the filthiest person alive. A rival couple tries to steal her title. What follows is a war of depravity, kidnapping women, keeping them in cages, and escalating trash stunts until nothing is off the table. And then comes the infamous ending. No special effects, no tricks. Divine eats real dog poop on camera. Audiences gagged, rioted, even stormed out of screenings. It wasn't just rumor. It actually happened. That wasn't the only horror. Real animal cruelty, public indecency, and acts so over the top that theaters had to hide screenings from local officials. Countries banned it outright. Others censored it heavily, chopping entire reels just to make it legal. But time did something bizarre. Pink Flamingos went from being contraband to being preserved in the US National Film Registry. A movie with a poop-eating finale now sits next to Casablanca. Waters laughed about it later. He said, "It's still alarming, still confusing, still frightening, but joyous." Exploitation turned into history. Few revenge films have sparked as much outrage as I Spit on Your Grave. Directed by Mir Zarki, it follows a young writer played by Camille Keaton. She's brutally attacked by a gang of men and left for dead, but she survives. And then, one by one, she hunts them down. No mercy. The assaults are shown in excruciating detail. Too much detail. Critics exploded. Roger Ebert called it a vile bag of garbage. Newspapers labeled it dangerous trash. Feminist groups said it glorified violence. Others said it was a raw warning about misogyny. Everyone hated it, but everyone talked about it. Censors went nuclear. Australia banned it. Norway banned it. Ireland banned it. The UK banned and unbanned it repeatedly over decades. For a time, even owning a copy could get you prosecuted. But bans didn't kill it. Grindhouse fans lined up anyway. Word of mouth spread. It grossed more than $5 million worldwide, an insane return for a $650,000 budget. Keaton herself became a cult icon, the face of vengeance. The movie still splits audiences today. Exploitation trash or feminist revenge fantasy. Either way, it's one of the most infamous grindhouse films ever shot. Then came The Devils. Not sleazy trash this time, but a big-budget studio production that shocked harder than most grindhouse flicks. Directed by Ken Russell, it starred Oliver Reed and Vanessa Redgrave in a historical drama about the Loudun possessions in 17th century France. But this wasn't history as you know it. It was nunsploitation, torture, and sexual hysteria all in one. Nuns stripped naked, writhing in religious frenzy. A priest accused of witchcraft. Graphic torture, possession, and violence wrapped in Catholic imagery. It was too much even for Warner Brothers. The studio hacked it apart, cutting exorcisms, nudity, and entire sequences. Even then, governments weren't satisfied. It was banned in Italy, banned in several American states, and banned outright in places like Finland. The uncut version? Still unreleased to this day. Warner Brothers has locked it away for over 50 years. And yet, critics and filmmakers kept coming back. Guillermo del Toro called it one of the greatest banned films ever made. Mark Kermode, one of Britain's top critics, said it was a masterpiece. Russell's movie became legend, not for what audiences saw, but for what they weren't allowed to see. A masterpiece buried by fear. This one wasn't just banned, it was investigated. Snuff started life as a low-budget Argentine horror movie called Slaughter. Shot in 1971, it was a clumsy knockoff of the Manson murders. Nobody cared. It sat on a shelf for years. Then a distributor named Alan Shackleton had an idea. He shot a fake ending, a staged scene of a woman being murdered on camera, framed as if it were real. And then he marketed the whole thing as the world's first actual snuff film. Theaters plastered posters, made in South America, where life is cheap. Audiences panicked. Feminist groups protested screenings. The FBI opened investigations. Police raided theaters to check if the ending was real. Actors from the fake scene eventually had to go on TV to prove they were alive. Didn't matter. The myth was stronger than the truth. Cities banned it. Countries banned it. The UK prosecuted it under obscenity laws and kept it banned until the 2000s. And Shackleton? He laughed all the way to the bank. For a $40,000 investment, he made over $1 million. Snuff wasn't just an exploitation film, it was the ultimate exploitation hoax. Finally, Caged Heat. On the surface, just another women in prison movie. Sadistic wardens, abusive doctors, endless nudity, and the inevitable prison break. Exploitation 101. But here's the twist. It was the debut of Jonathan Demme, the same man who would go on to direct The Silence of the Lambs. Working under Roger Corman, Demme had almost no budget, about $180,000. He shot in abandoned asylums, recycled sets, and even edited the film himself under a fake name to save money. What he delivered had everything the genre demanded: catfights, showers, torture. But critics noticed something unusual. Buried under the sleaze were flashes of progressive ideas. The inmates weren't just victims. They banded together. They fought back. They had power. Audiences didn't come for politics. They came for trash. And they got it. But the film still grossed $2 million, a massive hit for New World Pictures. Even Francis Ford Coppola praised it. For a prison exploitation flick, that was unheard of. And for Dem, it was a launchpad straight into Hollywood. Caged Heat proved even the sleaziest genre could spark a legendary career.